I'm 1 minute late because Katya and I were eating Girl Scout cookies. In
Good luck,
America,
translators. Girl Scout cookies.
Girl Scout cookies. It's an organization for young girls. They go camping, social group, and all throughout the United States, they're famous because for their cookies. Once a year, they have a fundraiser and they sell cookies to people in the public to help support their activities. Anyway, they're really good. So we were eating Girl Scout cookies.
This is not an excuse.
No, chocolate coconut will not wait.
Okay, this is the class 10 ACI.
They're good. The chocolate cookies are good.
And this is about chocolate. This is about Maitreya.
Okay, well, so far it's been about chocolate cookies, but now it will be about Maitreya. I like chocolate cookies.
Maybe it's related somehow to chocolate cookies.
And maybe bliss, free from suffering.
It took me a while to understand why Geshe Michael decided to put at the end of this mind-blowing ACI 2 information about Maitreya. Okay, I understand. He is the author of the book, but really why? Right.
And so just to go back, right? And we're going to try and make this class a little lighter and not as difficult. That last one we know was hard. Okay, so Maitreya, if you remember, we're in Ornament of Realizations.
Maybe motivation.
Well, just a real quick reminder that Ornament of Realizations was dictated by Maitreya to a Sangha in 350 AD. So that's why. And so now we're talking about Maitreya, who in partnership with a Sangha wrote this.
Yeah. And before you start, please think about these expensive seeds for this knowledge. I mean, you had already class 9 that is called brain massage, and this was the class, by the way, I was listening probably 20 times.
It's probably like one of those German massages where the masseuse beats you up. It's not one of the gentle hot rock massages. It's like the big lady that's pounding you in it. It's not good unless it hurts.
I don't know, Ella. You had a strange experience in massage. Actually, I had probably same, but with
is it hurting?
massage.
Yeah, great.
Okay. Anyway, think about your seats because you spend a lot of them, and honestly, it took me a lot of years of translating ACI classes and other teachings to be able to understand the proof that we just went through in the 9th class. And Bill, he was serving, like he basically dedicated all his life to these teachings. So think about how expensive this karma is and make a wish that you will create something beautiful with this knowledge. You will, maybe you don't know how you will help other people, but just make a wish that everything you will hear today, that you would be able to apply it in your personal life, become this incredible enlightened being with the body of light and omniscience, and help every single living being. And this thought, only this one idea will be good enough to override, your karmic splurging when you use all your karma, like with the speed of light almost. And think about the fact that because you know how the reality works, because since they seem to be one, but actually they have parts, the world does not exist the way it looks like. And because of that, you can become a totally different being. And let's go to Maitreya stuff. Want to talk about why to study about Maitreya?
Who is Maitreya?
That's a very good question.
Mhm.
First of all, we know that he is the author of the reading that we have for this class, The Ornament of Realizations, Abhisamaya Alankara, dictated by Maitreya to Master Asanga, who went for 1 hour to visit him in his paradise, and 50 years went by on the earth. He came back and didn't recognize anybody.
And just for fun, do you think that's literal or do you think that's exaggerating?
Personally,
Mhm.
I think it's literal.
Yeah, I think it's literal also.
I don't think it's an exaggeration. I mean, because from what we study, right, you can change the flow of the time because it has also parts, right? The beginning of the moment and the end of the moment.
Yeah.
And he wrote down the text, and something when I was getting ready to this class, I didn't realize before was in the beginning of the text, Maitreya bows down to 3 knowledges.
And you remember what the 3 knowledges are, right?
The direct perception of emptiness, like knowledge of the basic knowledge, basically direct perception of the emptiness independently on whether you have bodhicitta or not.
Well, without bodhicitta.
Yeah. Second is the knowledge of the past, when you have direct perception of the emptiness with bodhicitta.
With bodhicitta.
And third, the omniscience.
Right. Enlightenment.
Enlightenment.
Total enlightenment of a Buddha.
So, and he bows down to these 3 knowledges. So definitely there is a connection between these 2 classes, right? You can, because by understanding these 3 knowledges and especially understanding the truth of emptiness, one or many, Chiktudrel in Tibetan, you can reach nirvana, you can reach Buddhahood, right?
Yeah, so Maitreya is the next Buddha. And so he's bowing down to the 3 knowledges because, and they went through a long explanation of the emptiness of the 3 knowledges, because that's how you're going to become enlightened. And that's why it's possible that you can become enlightened, right? And so he's bowing down to that because that's what's going to create Maitreya.
And Maitreya is one of 1,000 Buddhas that will appear on this earth, and they even call the Kalpa, like the time period we live in, fortunate Kalpa or happy Kalpa? Fortunate, I think, fortunate Kalpa, meaning that we have that many Buddhas coming, very extraordinary, unusual.
Degenerate era, fortunate Kalpa, but like things are messed up here, but it will produce Buddhas fast.
Yeah. And the Shakyamuni Buddha, I think he was the 4th one, right?
Yes.
And so Maitreya is the 5th one. They say Jetsunkapa is the 11th, I think, or 10 or 11. Because Buddhas, they have, if you remember, the Rupakaya, form body that can be ultimate or something else, right? Buddhas can emanate like, I don't know, a glass of water or a cloud in the sky or an idea in your mind, but also they can emanate in their ultimate form, like Buddha Shakyamuni, he had this form when he was teaching. So
it's interesting because they say there's different predictions for when Maitreya will show up that are in the text. One of them says that he will be here in 25 years after Shakyamuni Buddha, which would be
Long time ago.
Well, long time ago, but specifically, Buddha Shakyamuni was 500 BC, which was 2,500 years ago. And so some of the texts predict that Maitreya will be here about now, which is interesting, because Geshe is always laughing. It's like he said it's an inside joke that Maitreya is very close.
Actually, it's interesting because when he was teaching back in 1994 in New York, he was not saying that Maitreya is close.
No, he wasn't saying that then.
There was nothing about it. And when I was just, barely exposed to just first touch to these teachings, what I heard that, oh, Maitreya will show up like in thousands of years, like thousands, definitely not within our lifetime. And I don't know if this was a mistake or maybe I did something in my life since that. Now Geshe Michael says that Maitreya is really close. I mean, really close.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like particularly the last year or two, almost every time we see him, he's making a joke about it, like it's really close.
I don't think it's a joke, actually.
No, I don't think it's a joke, but I think he said it's an inside joke because it's like,
because who is Maitreya, right?
well,
why do you hear? Why do you need this class? Who can be Maitreya, right?
Yeah, and the thing is like you don't know, right? Like we look, that's kind of, it's similar to the car. You look at the back, you look at the taillights on the car and the little black part at night, and you think you're seeing the whole car. But what do you really know of that car? What do you know of the driver that's in it? What do you know? And then with people, it's the same thing. You see them. I mean, like, even somebody like Ina and I are hardly ever apart anymore. And you think you know the person, but what do you really know, right? Like, I mean,
how do you connect these parts?
I mean,
together?
well, and then what about the part that you don't know? Like, are you just labeling that human? Well, maybe they're enlightened and maybe they just look human, right? Like, do you know? Like, even if they act in some way that's maybe challenging or creates mental afflictions, well, maybe that's a Buddha that's teaching you something, right? You don't know, right? Like you're just labeling these things.
And if you react with mental affliction, then even don't go and ask anybody. They want you to get rid of them.
Yeah. So I mean, it's possible the entire world is enlightened, and I'm just a little bit away from being able to see it right now. It could be possible that everybody's pretending to be a student so that I can get the merit I need, the positive mental seeds I need to get enlightened. I mean, you guys could all just be pretending, right? I don't know. I mean, we think we know that you're students, that you're really students, but it's not like that, right? You don't know. I mean, you could be sitting next to Maitreya and not know it.
Okay, that makes me. Can I share this?
Well, maybe. Well,
your karma is ripening. To be completely honest,
but you'll see the same idea in the New Testament, right? Where they say, well, be careful how you treat a guest because you never know when you're entertaining an angel and don't know it. And so it's not just a weird Buddhist idea. It's in the other religions, right? Because people have experienced it.
Okay, I will share something he does not know what I will share.
Uh-oh.
When I met Bill and we obviously we were talking a lot about teachings. I mean, we were in love, and half time we were talking about our personal relationship and stuff. And the second part we were talking about these teachings.
Mostly we talk about Dharma and family and how to take care of it.
And how to get together being on different continents.
during the COVID pandemic, there was a lot of talk about
And
logistics.
once, I mean, probably not a long time from the time when I met you, we discussed about Maitreya. Oh, I remember. I came here for the first time, and we went to one of the rooms. I mean, the bedroom actually. There's an image, and Bill asked me, "Do you know who is him?" The image.
When I got my first set of vows in August of 1999 from the Dalai Lama, he came to the United States. He was in Bloomington, Indiana. So I went, and it was like a 2-week event, big tents and 5,000 people there. And it really was a major spiritual, we call it milestone in English, right? Like it's a marker along your path, right? Like every mile there would be a stone. And so like when you passed the milestone, you knew you'd done something significant. And so, I was there for 2 weeks. You had to drive there were 5,000 people in this little tiny town. And so you had to drive like an hour away from this little town to get a hotel room. And, but anyway, it was really powerful to take my vows with the Dalai Lama and to hear the teachings and to be in the same, tent with them for 2 weeks. It felt very personal, even though there were 5,000 people there. And I bought, there were artists and people selling various Dharma stuff. And so I didn't know who Maitreya was. I'd had a few classes in Buddhism in the university, read a bunch of books, thought I knew something. Anyway, I bought a painting of Maitreya. I had no idea. I just knew I was attracted to it. I just liked Maitreya. And so.
And he asked, "Do you know who he is?" I said, "Yeah, it's Maitreya."
Yeah.
And he said, "No, it's me."
Well, for the record, I'm not enlightened yet. So.
Okay, so the whole thing about Maitreya starts with actually a debate between Sakyas and Gelugpas. And probably let's explain what Sakyas are, because
one more thing on that subject. There's a quiet retreat teaching. I believe it was the third one. If you're interested in the subject, you can go read it or listen to it. When Geshe Michael was in his 3-year retreat from 2000 to 2003, he gave 6 talks in the desert, and they were very, very powerful. And I believe it was the third one where he was talking about Maitreya. And if you're interested, it might be very powerful for you to.
They're published. These talks.
Yeah, they're published. Yeah, it would probably be very powerful for you to read it. I think it was the third one.
I don't remember which one. So
I was there personally.
Was it for your first time?
Yeah, I missed the first 2, and then I got to see the last 4, and they were extremely powerful.
So how the debate starts here? Sakyas, they are arguing with Gelugpas, and actually Gelugpas are represented by Gyaltsab, who is a famous student of Jetsun Kappa, the founder of our lineage, basically, Gelugpa lineage. And they are called Sakyas and Gelugpa, or Gelug you may hear also. They're called sects. But sects in Tibetan Buddhism, it is not a bad word. In many languages, like English or Russian, sects are considered to be something like cultic, In Tibetan Buddhism, they are all well respected. They're just like schools, modern schools of
It's like the difference.
ways of teachings.
Yeah, it's somewhat similar to the difference between Catholics, Presbyterians, and Episcopals, and except they're
Orthodox.
Orthodox. Yeah, except actually they're closer than that. There's more interaction between them.
Yeah.
It's more an emphasis on which things they're going to practice and which textbooks they're going to choose to learn from. But there's a lot of flow back and forth between the four of them.
For example, when monks they debate in the winter, usually you usually do not know. You debate a monk of Sakya, Kagyu, Geluk, or Nyingma. There are 4 of them right now. So Sakya, Geluk, Kagyu, and Nyingma. Nyingma is the oldest one, and Geluk is the youngest one.
Yeah, founded by Jason Kappa.
Yeah, Jason Kappa was Kagyu, by the way, in the beginning. So it's not that different. Mostly, their educational methods are different, and it is not really recommended to mix them up.
Yeah, and again, this is distinct and something different than the 4 schools of thought about emptiness, which the what we've been talking about: Abhidharma, Sutrist, mind only, lower middle way, and higher middle way, right? And those, like when they say school, it's like a school of thought. It's not like a physical building, right? And it's not like you get an ID card that says, hey, I'm middle way, right? But the Tibetan sects would be, there'd be a monastery, and it would be a Sakya monastery or a Gelugpa monastery, or, to this day, you can go to India and you can go to Geshe-la's college, which is Sarah of the Gelugpa system. And then actually it's Sarah May, and there's Sarah J, and Geshe-la's Sarah May, and all of us now are Sarah May through that lineage. So that is actually a physical location, as opposed to the Indian schools, which are a school of thought.
Yeah.
About emptiness specifically.
And in the essence, they teach the same things. So you may see heads of one lineage being friends with heads of other lineages, and usually they are, because this is for practitioners, for people. Somebody is attracted to one side, somebody has more like logical capacities, they come usually to Geluk, somebody else has other, people have different attractions, right? So Sakyas, they're debating Gelugpas here, and what they say, actually, they debate about Maitreya. Let me share the screen. So in this section of the ornament of realization, they debate whether Maitreya has aspiration to fulfill his own needs and for his own sake, not only for the sake of others, right? Maybe debater assumes that Maitreya is already a Buddha, and if he does, what mistake can he make? You want to discuss? Okay. So basically, it sounds a little bit strange, but we have several questions here, right? They are debating about, not about actually in the beginning whether Maitreya is the Buddha or not. And it's a very important question. But also whether he has, it starts with the wish for enlightenment, actually. Does he want anything for him? And if he does he have the wish for enlightenment? And Gyaltsab just says that, you know what? you are mixing up stuff that you cannot mix. First, if you say that Maitreya is already a Buddha, then you mix open teachings and secret teachings. Because in open teachings, we do not say Maitreya is already a Buddha. We say he is a Bodhisattva. And there are scriptural references to it. In the secret teachings, yeah, okay, probably both debaters, they were in secret teachings, but he says it is completely inappropriate to mix the past that is shared and the past that is unique and secret, right? So this is a big mistake. So,
Well, they say that, and because it's and it's true, but then Geshe teaches things that are Vajrayana all the time. It's in an open class. So anyway, it's fun actually. You get these little insights.
Yeah, and
big insights.
And there is something, I mean, I was afraid that he will say what he just said, but it's actually true. Teachers will give you a little bit, some small taste of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is not considered to be an issue.
Well, it's related to, and I mean, this is a little off the subject of this question, but it's related to your ethics. If you're keeping your ethics, you're going to get the Vajrayana teachings almost unstoppably, right? I mean, there is a connection to a teacher, but if you're creating the karma for it, if you're planting the mental seeds for it, you're gonna get the teachings. And so if you talk to teachers who've been around for a while and have taught at a high level, and they'll tell you that sometimes they get up and they intend on giving a sutra level teaching, and they'll end up giving we use the term Vajrayana now instead of Tantra, because Tantra is misunderstood.
Diamond way.
Yeah, diamond way. So teachers will go to give a sutra level teaching and end up giving a Vajrayana level teaching, a tantric level teaching, because it's like, I've heard teachers say this, not myself, but I've heard other teachers say it's like they pulled it out of me, and it's because, and it could be one of those things too, where I've seen it in a class where
your seats are so great.
Well, one person will hear, you'll discuss it with somebody afterwards, and one person will hear a sutra level teaching, and the other person sitting in the exact same class will hear a higher teaching, a diamond weight teaching. And it's like, oh, wow, wasn't that interesting? Or you can go to them and you can say, did you hear him say this? No, I didn't hear him say that. Oh, it's a proof that it's the person, it's another proof of emptiness, right? The person sitting in the room is
had exactly the same parts.
Yeah, had the same parts and saw something different.
Or even more, you will see a movie like maybe Matrix Resurrection or something like that, or Masha and the Bear.
Yeah, you can get Vajrayana level teachings from the movies,
or
like
cartoons.
it's cartoons. Yeah, it's if you kept your ethics, boy, you can't stop it, right?
Okay,
so
let's go to the discussion again. So Sakya said that Maitreya has no aspiration to achieve enlightenment, and maybe because they think he's already the Buddha, or maybe they think that he is still a Bodhisattva of level 10, like several sutras they are saying. Actually, he himself is saying he is a Bodhisattva of the level 10. If he is already. And then Gyaltsab just says, you know what? I will prove you wrong independently of whether he is already a Buddha or he is still a Bodhisattva. If you say that he is already a Buddha, suppose that he is already a Buddha, so does he still have the wish for enlightenment? If yes, then does it fit the definition? Because according to definition, the wish for enlightenment is a desire to reach enlightenment for the sake of other living being and for your own sake, right? For you to fulfill your own needs and other people's needs. But if he's already the Buddha, does he have these needs for himself, right? So they still wish to possess their Dharma body, actually, right? The first, how to say, to explain it really quick, imagine you have your breakfast today, easy. We just had one. Does it mean you still want to have your breakfast tomorrow? Or you have your breakfast once and then that's it forever? So even if somebody has already what he wanted to become, right? Imagine Maitreya is already a Buddha. He still can want it because he wants to keep it for himself and for other living beings. And the mistake here is that we cannot talk about him as a Buddha if we are in the shared path teachings. In the shared path, he is the Bodhisattva, right?
Which is always kind of confusing, because if Maitreya is dictating to a Sangha, well, that's a Buddha dictating to a Sangha, right? But then if he's still a Bodhisattva, right, it's like, how could he be both, right? How could he both be not enlightened and enlightened?
How can this be both? This thing and this thing.
Great answer. It's also, a Buddha's beyond time, right? I mean, they can look back to who they were prior to getting enlightened. This is something that's a little like, I know
even easier than before.
Well, yeah, well, but I know we've challenged you a bit, but they say that a Buddha can't tell you when you're going to get enlightened until you've had the direct perception of emptiness. So that was a little hard for me to like wrap my mind around. Wouldn't the Buddha remember when he'd had the direct perception of emptiness? But then why couldn't they? And if he could see all time, wouldn't they know where I was going to get enlightened? But yet they're pretty consistent about that being the case. So I'll be honest, I don't know what to make of that one.
Okay.
But it's fun to think about, right? Like what is there about the nature of samsara that the Buddha can't tell you when you're going to reach Buddhahood until you've had the direct perception of emptiness?
I think I have the answer.
Oh, do you? Okay.
The answer will be to whom?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have seats to hear Buddha saying to you something, right?
No.
So, and we continue with our story about Maitreya, whether he still has his wish for enlightenment and whether he wants something for himself. And it is getting even more complicated because in one of the works that you can find in the readings, he writes himself as a dedication of the work in the beginning that I dedicated to purify my own obstacles to omniscience. And then, is he a Buddha or a Bodhisattva? And in this scriptural references, he himself talks about him and other authors as a bodhisattva who has one lifetime. He has to live one more lifetime. Interesting. I just realized our fitness club is called Lifetime.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, Lifetime Fitness, the gym,
Lifetime Fitness.
the gym where we go to work out. It's actually a really luxurious gym. Lifetime. Yeah.
So he also has his lifetime left.
Yeah, and I lived on Pioneer Road, right? In a bit of if you're studying Buddhism in the West now, you are a pioneer. And Lincoln is one of my favorite examples of a man who understood. He doesn't have any formal. There's no record of him having any formal training in Buddhism, but he definitely lived his life. He built something really powerful using just being kind to other people. He very much did believe that you wanted to treat other people the way you want to be treated yourself, and he rose up from like nothing, nobody, the poorest of the poor, self-educated, to not just the greatest president the United States has ever had, but one of the greatest leaders the world has ever had. And so he did it based on kindness.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so
I think it was not clear for maybe translators. Bill was talking about him living previously on Pioneer Street.
Yeah, Pioneer Street, and then Lincoln Street, who's one of my heroes, is just like right. We live on Lincoln Street, and it's fine.
And we have Lifetime Fitness.
Which are, I mean, okay, like, and why are things happening like that, right? Like, why do things happen like that? Like, why would I live? Why would Abraham Lincoln, be my hero, and then I live on Lincoln Street, right? Why would that happen?
We were teaching with Bill in the test tube million for 2 years about Lincoln, and okay, he lives in Illinois, that is Lincoln State, right? He was born and he was working here, living. Okay, that's understandable. I was living in France when we started. And we planted so much seeds that not only I park my car now in the Lincoln Street, the number, like the license plate on my car, it says Lincoln Land,
the land of Lincoln,
and there is a picture of Lincoln on it. So
it's look for it in your own life, right? Mental seeds. Like you'll go through these times where you'll have the seeds for something and you'll see things repeatedly, right? Like when your wife is pregnant, you'll see pregnant people everywhere. Now you ask me today, because my youngest child is 21, and I haven't seen a pregnant 22. Yeah, I haven't seen a pregnant lady. I can't tell you when, but like when your wife's pregnant, you see pregnant ladies everywhere, right? I mean, it's like you have the mental seeds at that point in your life to see. Anyway, just a theory.
Okay, so for open teachings, Maitreya is the 10th level bodhisattva, right? For secret teachings, he is the Buddha, but we don't talk about it, right? And I was thinking it's interesting because in secret teachings, they say that, let's start with open teachings, you need kalpas to walk this path, like the Buddha Shakyamuni himself. He had so many lifetimes to go to. Mainly what they do, they purify their obstacles and karmic seeds, and then they plant seeds to meet somebody who will teach them the real thing. Basically, what we are studying right now, the emptiness and seeds. And then it's kind of faster, it goes faster, right? And so the historical Buddha Shakyamuni, he walked the long path, right? And then here we hear that in secret teachings, theoretically, if you play your cards right, you can do it within one single lifetime. So, okay, let me back to slides. Because, here, suppose Maitreya is already a Buddha, does he still have the wish for enlightenment, right? If he is a Buddha, of course he does, he possesses the wish for enlightenment or bodhicitta, because he wants to stay enlightened, right? He wants to help every living being and to continue to be in bliss in his paradise. And this is how we can answer this question. And if he has this wish for enlightenment, then he will get these two bodies, Rupakaya and Dharmakaya. And Rupakaya is for others, because then you can help other people. And Dharmakaya.
And remember, the Rupakaya is the Buddha's form body. That's the Buddha's body that's in paradise. You know, sometimes they'll call it the enjoyment body, or the other Sanskrit term is Sambhogakaya. And then there's the Nirmanakaya, which is the emanation body. That's the body that comes to earth to talk to you, to help you to learn. So there's the two form bodies, the two Rupakayas, or his paradise body and his emanation body, which is, when you're thinking about enlightenment, right, it's to become a Buddha. And so like that's our goal. Our goal is to become this.
Yeah. Body of light and omniscience, very basically.
Yeah, so it's like like God the Father, the Son, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, right? And so then
this is complicated for me being atheist.
Right. Okay, yeah. But for the Christian people, it's interesting because there's it's clear they're talking about the same thing. It's clear that they're two different branches of the same wisdom. And so and then the Dharmakaya, right? The other part of the Buddha's body, that's his omniscience, and the part that we shared with them is the emptiness. And that's the potential that that's the blank screen that allows us to become a Buddha, is the fact that we all have that emptiness. We all have the blank screen.
And I was thinking it's kind of weird that they say that Dharmakaya is for myself, right? And Rupakaya is for others. But this is the division. They say that mostly because you stopped all your mental afflictions and your mind is completely happy, so you took care of your own problems. And because you can emanate, then you can effortlessly, basically what they do is automatic. Buddhas, they don't have to think to help somebody. They do it automatically, effortlessly.
Yeah,
this is for others.
Yeah, the form body is mostly for others because you can't interact with the emptiness and you can't interact with their omniscience directly. It has to come through something. So when you're at the human level, they'll emanate as another human that's slightly better than you.
Or animals.
Or animals, yeah. I mean, but they get, or a bridge, right? But quite often they'll think about it in the form of a teacher that's ahead of you, like and that's the Nirmanakaya. And then so like Geshe Michael, he's come and he clearly is like
A special being.
Special, right? Like he's the amount that he knows is it just ain't normal, right? It's extraordinary. And then the longer I've gotten to know him, the more I've seen that, right? And so there's the Nirmanakaya that you learn from when you're a human. And then I thought was interesting, I hadn't heard this in a long time. I knew that there were people that at a certain point would be able to go to the Buddha's paradise and learn from them directly. Like a Sangha is, and you'll hear stories of other monks that can talk to a Buddha. And then
Jushi, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Jetson Kappa
Right.
was talking to him.
Yeah, and so when you reach the 10th bodhisattva level, at that point, you've got the ability to go to a Buddha's paradise and learn from them directly, which that's pretty cool, right?
And
Elementary school was mostly boring for me, frankly, but that one sounds like
fun.
Fun, yeah, I'd be willing to go to that one.
They say that, I mean, okay, where is he now, right, Maitreya? They say he's in Tushita, paradise. And I mean, I knew about Tushita, I completely forgot, but Geshe Michael says in the class that this is the paradise of our Buddha Shakyamuni.
Yeah, of the original Gautama Buddha from 2,500 years
which
ago.
is very interesting. And this is outside of the class, just my own thinking. Buddha Shakyamuni, he made the wish, I want to be born in the most degenerate world.
Worst, most miserable.
Where people, they are hopeless. They are so stupid, they cannot learn, they cannot get correct worldview, they're stubborn. I want to help those guys. And guess what? He was born on our planet. Not only that, he reached enlightenment, and enlightenment does not mean you blink out of here and then you are somewhere else. Where you reach enlightenment, this becomes your paradise, because your seeds now projecting new reality. I mean, that is 100% real for you. So, and there was a sutra called Vimalakirti Sutra, Geshe Michael was translating. And a monk in the sutra, I think it was Shariputra, who was usually very smart in sutras, but not that time.
Yeah.
And he had just a thought in his mind. Poor guy, he didn't even open his mouth. He didn't even pronounce it. But other guys, they were reading his mind and they knew what he thinks about. So, and he was thinking, the Buddha Shakyamuni, he is working on this planet for a while. Didn't he work really well? Like, I really clearly can see some troubles, still there are some issues, you know. And then everybody started to laugh at him. And the Buddha, he just moved his thumb just a little bit. And then the picture for everybody changed, and they have seen themselves on big thrones, you know, made of jewels, flowers everywhere, complete paradise. And then he moved his thumb back, and Shariputra has seen again, you know, the crappy world he was seeing before. And then the Buddha said, the way you see the world is not because of Sugatas. It's not because of them. It's not their issue.
Sugatas being Buddhas.
Enlightened beings.
Enlightened beings, yeah.
So it is again back to the question, to whom? To whom you see the world is as not perfect.
Yeah, I still, having been brought up in a Christian nation, I still have this tendency to think of heaven being someplace that I'm going to get to, right? Like a rocket ship, and I'm going to go to heaven because it's out at the edge of the universe, right? But that's not it at all. Like I could, if I were sitting next to an enlightened being, and I could be experiencing my human world, and they're experiencing their Buddha paradise sitting right here, right next to them. So it's not a physical location you're changing, it's your mind that you're changing.
Yeah. And sometimes you will have these moments, especially when you're close to teachers, like I remember I was invited first to DCI public talk, and we had to, was already beginning of difficulties between Russia and Ukraine, 2016 probably, or something like that. And we had to take a flight to Kiev from Moscow through Vienna, and we had to, like, we had a very late public talk, stayed up till probably 1 a.m. or something, because Geshe Michael told us, me and Vika Tarangul, that we will reply to everybody's questions. And we had a crowd, like lined up. People, they all of them stayed basically. Everybody had questions. So we went to sleep 1 a.m. Geshe Michael also went to sleep late. We had dinner together. Then we went to sleep, and 3 a.m. we had to go to the airport. So we were sleeping like probably 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. And Geshe Michael was happy, enjoying, like, I don't know, he would have vacations, not 2 hours of sleep, like 66, 67. Well, I don't remember how old he was. And I remember this, like, something is not right, like, this guy is really happy.
Yeah.
I'm half alive, and he's happy. And I remember what he did. He was like, what do you think this is? Like, din, 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 din. I said, I don't know, Geshe. And he said, this is a cappuccino detector.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
these are some of the easier texts that he works on, and he's written 30,000 pages of these things. 30,000 from the original Tibetan. And if you've seen the wood carvings, it's okay. So like if you look at, I don't know if people can see this, but that's my notes, right? And you can see how scribbled the words are. Some of the wood carvings, the quality of the writing isn't much better than that. And he's taking that in Tibetan, reading it, and cleaning up the mistakes of these extremely difficult texts that are, very technical, and it's really, and he does work extremely hard, but it's extraordinary.
Okay, let's go back to Maitreya, because we're not done with Maitreya still. So I will share my slide. Can he still have an aspiration to fulfill his or her? Because guess what? Enlightened beings, they do not have gender in a normal sense. I mean, they can pretend to be both if they need.
Yeah, if you can emanate as a cat, you can emanate as a man or a woman, right?
No problem.
The bridge thing, was kind of a clue.
Okay. Okay, so it's difficult to teach with him, because I kind of would like my partner to be a little bit more serious. Maybe I should plant some seeds.
Yeah.
So, so Maitreya, he is, let's say, in open teachings, we have to admit he is a bodhisattva, right? Because he, in Uttara Tantra that he wrote by himself, by the way, that was his book, he says that he's a 10th level bodhisattva. There is another scriptural reference that says that he is a 10th level bodhisattva. So in open teachings, we must stick to what is allowed to talk about in open teachings, right? And okay, but can a Mahayana person say that they still have the aspiration to fulfill their own needs? No problem with that, because in our teachings, you can give away the cake and have it. Because by being happy, you make the whole universe happy, if you can say it. And it is not only incorrect, this is the only way that it can happen, because they're coming from your seeds, right?
Mhm.
You want to say something?
I'm still laughing about the cat.
Okay, cats and bridges.
Cats and bridges, right?
No gender. Cats, they have gender actually. If they're not stuffy.
Mhm.
Okay, so you can have you can eat your cake and have it, and still have it. You can perfectly reach enlightenment, and the enlightenment actually means you will reach to the bliss that will never end, right? Much less, they say, much less perfect enlightenment, right? It is described like unbelievable ecstasy. I mean, think about your best, I don't know, the happiest moments, I don't know, your strongest orgasm, whatever you can imagine. You cannot even compare this to the state the Buddhas are in.
Yeah, and that's, boy, she just trumped all over sutra teachings there, because you're not supposed to talk about bliss in a sutra level teaching. But oh, does he? Okay, did he?
Look in the text, my
Okay,
love.
there you go. Well, Geshe, there was a precedent for it, and congratulations.
Yeah, okay. This is just straight, he's right, because this is straight from the secret teachings. But Geshe put it in the homework. And that means that you have seats to hear it. And yeah, nothing to add about it.
What else?
And the reason why enlightened beings, they have this blissful state, is because they serve others nonstop, right? Okay.
The cause for bliss is compassion. You might think it would be love, which is the desire to see someone else be happy, but it's actually bliss. The cause for that is the desire to take away their pain, which I'll let you think about why that is. It's interesting. It makes sense.
Yeah, there are two things, right? Love and compassion. Compassion is to take away somebody's suffering, and love is to give something good.
So, yeah.
Okay, so to summarize, why people, they think that Maitreya does not have this aspiration to get something for himself, because either they think that he already has it, then we disproved it. He already has it. I already had my breakfast. I still want it tomorrow. And the second is it's kind of selfish, right, to want something for yourself. But actually, there is no selfishness here if you understand how the world works. I take care of other people. I become happy and happier myself. And it's interesting, like when Geshe Michael was teaching this class in 1994 or something, 93, 94, he was working for Andina International. He was making okay money. But he was saying that work for other people and you will get everything you want. And boy, we have seen Geshe Michael getting, like, you know, millions like that, raising money like thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, because he has this capacity, right? He served other people, and he was training himself to serve even more, as much as he could to other people. be careful. Don't overstretch yourself, because especially if you are a newcomer, you should a little bit calm down sometimes, because nobody wants you to get exhausted, and then like my son, he left dances because he was overworking for years, like really hard, nonstop, and then he just had enough.
Her son was a
Fed up.
competitive dancer,
Yeah,
and he overworked and quit.
yeah, he was an international level dancer, and then at some point, boom, done. Don't want to hear about it, don't want to do it anymore. Has nothing to do with dances. So we don't want it to happen to you. Please think about your capacity, and you should be able to coffee meditate about good things that you have done, and not be angry and exhausted, because probably you're not making progress in this case. You're making regress.
Yeah, it wasn't always easy for Geshe Michael. Quite often it was extremely difficult. But I never saw him get upset. I never saw him quit. I never saw him get tired. And he kept going. I mean, at times over the 24 years that I've known him or been around his teachings, there were times when I'm like, wow,
nobody could manage this, right?
And
he did.
And he kept going, and that was because he understood emptiness. He understood cause and effect. You could see it in his life.
Watch the previous class.
Yeah, you could see it in his life. It was obvious. If you were there up close, and he was criticized immensely for it, right? At times, because it was different. He's teaching people something different than what a lot of people in this world, in this planet, apparently accept. And oh boy, yeah. But
if you will do it, you probably will have the same, right? Some difficulties will show up. You will have difficulties. So this proofs of emptiness, they're precious, because in the time when it will not be easy, when obstacles will come, and different mental afflictions and other difficult stuff, this will be something that will save you.
Yeah, I would also say that I don't know of anybody that's happier than Geshe Michael either. I mean, really successful on every level of his life.
Okay. And people, they always ask, why are you talking about Geshe Michael and you're not talking about yourself? So tell me, are you happier than before?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean, I like, it's out of respect, right? I mean, it's like, I'm a guitarist and I'm just a kid sitting in the garage with my guitar listening to Jimi Hendrix. And it's like, oh, well, and then, do I want to talk about myself, or do I want to talk about Jimi Hendrix? I want to talk about Jimi Hendrix, and so, but yeah, it's,
but you are proof that the path works, you see, because people, they say, yeah, okay, this is Geshe Michael. Nobody is like Geshe Michael.
Yeah, and hopefully these classes have gone a long way to, help you understand what the goal is, and that, everybody is going to eventually reach Buddhahood. It's just a question of how quickly you're going to do it, right? Ignorance is going to lose. Wisdom will win. You will reach Buddhahood. You can't stop it, because it's just a matter of how long it's going to take, and hopefully it will be as short as possible, right?
Yeah. And also I was thinking, definitely I become happier. I mean, comparing to 10 years ago, I don't know, cannot even compare. I mean, there are a lot of difficulties. Last year, I lost my mom, right? And many other things, like the war in Ukraine. But there is something else that is going on inside of you, you know, like you are capable of loving more, being more compassionate, more ethical, I don't know, more honest with yourself, inclusively, like better control your mind, you know.
When I, when I was a young man, I was in the military and I had grown up in a military family and a lot of anger in that world, right? A lot of violence, a lot of wrong worldviews. And flying the plane was fun, but a lot of wrong worldviews. And I had the plane turns really hard, right? And it compresses you with a lot of force, and that
several G's.
7.33 in the T-38.
Wow.
And so that means if you weigh 150 pounds, it's what, 1,050, right? And I'm going to forget about the 0.33, but 7 times 150 is, you weigh over 1,000 pounds. So you're talking about over 450 kilograms. And it crushed my spine. And I had horrible sciatica for more than a decade.
And sciatica is a medical condition basically handicapping you. Yeah. And Bill could not walk when he had these attacks.
Yeah, I just horrible pain. And just
for weeks, right?
Not constantly, 24 hours a day. And for a decade, I was just in like pretty severe pain all the time. There would be days where I would just want to scream, except I didn't scream because I knew it wouldn't help. And then I got to these teachings, and when I'm sitting in those quiet retreat teachings, the first time I'm watching Geshe Michael teach, I mean, I'm sitting like just ramrod straight and just in incredible pain. And then he starts talking about yoga, and well, anyway, he gave me the tools I needed to heal my back. It was about 3 or 4 years later, and I was free of pain. Like when I was in my I was swimming competitively in my 20s and had to stop because of my back pain, and then stopped for more than a decade. And then now I've been able to start up again. I swam, we're signed up for the race. Yeah. I'll go swim for an hour at a time. I don't even think about my back anymore. I'm 57.
He's swimming 5 kilometers in open waters in Lake Michigan.
And so that's a result of the path, right? It's not a miracle. It's the seed you plant. And so my pain didn't go away until I became a more compassionate person, right? And I didn't get my true partner until I became a more ethical person, right? You plant the seeds, and your life should have a trajectory like that, where it's starting to get better. So all of this fancy talk isn't just for some kind of unimaginable goal. If you're doing it properly, your life should be slowly getting better. And it should be pretty evident. So,
I want to say something, I think to emphasize something important, because we are talking here about open and secret teachings, the difference, right? Maitreya, is he a Buddha or a Bodhisattva? And then, to become a Buddha in open teachings, you need kalpas, right? Many lifetimes to basically go through the three paths, right? Lamrim, renunciation, bodhicitta, and correct worldview. And then, really, you tell me now that it can be done within one lifetime?
Mhm.
How so? Are these secret teachings so powerful? So, they say in this debate that, you know what, we have actually doubts. Like, if you are so nasty that you say that Maitreya is not a Buddha, if he is a Bodhisattva, then how will you prove that secret teachings actually exist at all to start with, right? So, and the last question, no, it's not the last, it's the one before the last two, yeah. Actually is about this proofs that actually you have in open teachings confirmations about the secret path, right? Like, for example, a brief commentary by Master Haribhadra that mentions bodies of a Buddha, you know, and these teachings. And then a very famous commentary by Master Dharmakirti, who wrote half of his books on lower paths, like, for example, Dode, right? Sutrist or Buddhist logic. And he says they do exist. The one who know that there do exist the ones who know the Tantra and can, in case, use the secret word with success. There are the proof. These are the proof. It's mainly the power of the one who taught it and following his precepts. So not only he mentions that Tantra really exists. Thank you for artificial intelligence for a great image. For me, it symbolizes, you know, like, instead of many lifetimes, you just do a breakthrough, bam, and you're there. So not only he confirms that Tantra exists, but he also says how it will work. And this bring us to the last question.
What it takes for it to work. When you get there, when you get to the Vajrayana teachings and you see the text, it's not really controversial, you know. Does it exist? Doesn't exist? Oh my, you know. It's like honestly, they call to call the ACI courses the foundational teachings is the perfect term for it, because it's exactly like, you know,
elementary school.
But like the foundation for a house, right? You know, you're going to, you know, dig down in the dirt a little bit, and pour some concrete and make it good, stable, and firm, so that when you build the house will be solid and safe and secure. And so you can't build a house without the foundation. You have to have the foundation, but then the house is really like really grand. And so when you see the teachings, it's obvious, you know.
And the foundations should be solid, because there will be earthquakes, you know, hurricanes.
Should be so. Well, we all have mental afflictions to clean up, right? If you're human. And so yeah, sometimes, yeah. Well, anyway, you have to clean them up. You need a good foundation to clean them up.
Yeah. Okay. So there are two elements, right, for to succeed in Tantra. First, the person who spoke the Tantra, actually who teaches you, right, should be a being of exceptional spiritual power. And second, the practitioner should be somebody who is leading a very pure ethical life. That's it. And okay, this is
Chicago again in the background.
I promised I will not make more pictures, sorry, but I could not stop myself. And I don't know, maybe you will have your ideas why Geshe Michael decided to finish this class with Maitreya. Who is Maitreya? Actually, who is that guy? Where is he, this person? what is Tushita paradise, right?
Mhm.
Will he come in 100 years, 1,000 years, tomorrow? Maybe he already came, I don't know. And can you use basically class 9 of this course that we just taught to play your cards, your karmic seeds in a way to avoid endless kalpas, you know?
Yeah.
Can you plant the seeds to make it within one lifetime? Is it possible? So, and if you will, maybe you will see something different from what you see. Maybe you will see yourself different. Maybe even in Chicago or in your place, wherever you are. That was it.
We're going to do a review class. And I guess we could probably, I mean, it's been kind of a long day for me. I don't really want to do question and answers now, do you? I think we've all had a bit of, but we will do a review class before you take your final exam and give you guys a chance to ask questions. And we don't have a date yet for that review class, do we?
No, not yet. We will notify additionally because we're not sure about next couple weekends. So
yeah.
we
but something in a month or less, we will have a review class and we'll let you know when it's going to be.
And in June, we will do ACI 3 about meditation. And I really look forward because I know that Bill has
meditation
is a professional in this.
Yeah, meditation is super cool. And what's covered in the class is accurate, authentic. It's a whole world that's just now opening up for the West, and it's super cool. So definitely come for the meditation.
Yeah, and we think now because we have more students in Chicago, probably we will do it offline also.
Oh,
here.
Yeah.
We will find a place. We will run a Google form to see how many people are willing to come to Chicago in June, and it will be somewhere in the middle of June, like 2 weekends probably. We will think about it.
Yeah, and even if it's only, we don't care how many people there are. We can do it live.
Yeah.
And so if it's 2 or 3 people.
Anyway, we will do it. Yeah, 2, 3 people we will invite just to our place.
Yeah.
Please be happy about good seeds you have planted because we do not finish with the prayers and as usually because we should have unfinished business. But we look for to meet you again, and by the way, the team of volunteers, they are always looking for new people. So if you are interested to join, you will see a link in the chat right now. And I know that there is a surprise for volunteers. Lena, are you ready?
Surprise for the volunteers. Are we going to talk slowly? Probably not. Может, нет.
на Маргарите закончилась.
Thank you, everybody. It was great. Please stay with us. Don't run away because of the proofs of emptiness. Okay. See you in at class 11.
Yeah, we'll see you for the review. We'll let you know soon
Mhm.
when that's going to be.
And in June for the online meditation course.
Mhm. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.